Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Last Days of Europe with me, Alpha Pi Omega and Gross Germanisches Reich. So, in the last episode we have started, and in this one we're gonna end the Sondergericht, which is the last focus that we're gonna do on the economy tree, and then we're gonna switch to the phone in our side, which is dealing with Poland, because we need to get that situation under control. As far as other things are considered, the Krieg im Süden is finished, so we are good there. We started researching Navy, and I would like to, as a reaction to some of your comments, also keep researching the naval ships for the foreseeable future with at least one of the slots. And, you know, there's nothing really stopping us from that, so let's just do that, shall we? As far as the other technology go, we're gonna focus on industry, because there is still quite a lot of things that we want to do. I know, there's still the nuclear technology here, but the construction, I think, is much better because it gives us bonuses to policies and stuff like that, which is in the end very useful. We have finally managed to get to the reformist side of the game, and we are currently working on... Wait, what? We're not working. Find and eliminate dissent. That's probably started by our opponents, right? To our surprise, there are hardliners more extreme than even the Arrow-Cross party, and underground communities that work in the forests and basements of Hungary. Help rooting them out. Help rooting them out will get us... That's supposed to be helping rooting them out. Get us a lot of goodwill from the government. We're gonna wait for Italy to make their turns, and then we're gonna decide what we're gonna go for. We can go for either encourage fascist rallies, which is a bit of a risk. There's a 33% risk that we're gonna go over and lose, or that they criticize the central government, and there's there's no chance that we will go over. But we might still fall short to 8, which would make the situation much worse. So we'll see what they are gonna do. They are far behind us at this point, so we don't really need to worry that much anyway. So you guys finished training? No, you didn't. Why? Why aren't you drilling? What's the issue? Are you... Oh, they're repairing. Okay, wait. We need to set the automatic split off. Oh, it's enabled. Huh, so what the hell is going on? Okay, Erhard's demands, flat income tax. Telephone for you, mein Führer. Speer glanced up, ready to deliver a rebuke at being interrupted mid-sentence, before he realized he had been expecting this call. There were few others who could demand a conversation with the Führer in this manner. He sighed and gestured to the phone. The ministers sat about the table. Looked variously confused and intrigued, save for Erhard. He simply leaned forward in his chair. Speer held the receiver to his ear. Speaking. Mein Führer, the voice drawled, barely pronouncing the honorific before turning to business. Mein Führer, the voice drawled, barely pronouncing the honorific before turning to business. I'm sure these new tax rates haven't escaped your attention. They must be corrected at once. IG Farben may have been the biggest name on a head-up's business card, but it would certainly be pressed for space. Close to 50 of the Reich's largest businesses boasted him on their board of directors. Few others could speak to Speer so brusquely. The Führer looked down at the tax papers that decorated the table this very moment. He wasn't remotely surprised they'd leaked, considering the magnitude of IG Farben's influence. Hermann, you called at an ideal time. Not a hint of sarcasm showed on his face, though a hint of smirk tugged at Erhard's lips. We were going through the plans, and your input would be appreciated. Then you can sweep them off your desk. You know damn well what those tax breaks do to us, and you can be sure everyone in my phone book will know they're going by the end of the day. The phone went dead. Jesus Christ, what a man! Talking to the Führer this way. Reichsminister Erhard chuckled. It seemed like he didn't need to know what Abs had said. If I may, my Führer, I don't think it is necessary to respond. The opinion of a man like him is not something you need to worry about. We continue as planned, or abscess too much dirt on our government. Okay, so this would revert the changes. We continue as planned. Also, I think it's time we investigate that man a bit and make him understand his role in the world. Okay, Sondergericht is finished. Policy is all well and good, but we live in a society far removed from the norms of Weimar and the Second Reich. The consolidation and defense of our Führer's newfound power will not be achieved by the accumulation of votes or careful backroom negotiations, but by decisive action and ruthless use of the justice system. Though we walk the path to a better world, our enemies crowd around us, seeking to drag our Führer into the muck of ideological fanaticism. Naturally, there is only one solution. We must follow in Hitler's footsteps and use all means necessary to crush our most resilient opponents. The corrupt criminals in the NSDAP and bureaucracy must be rooted out and crushed underfoot, consigned to fitting judicial sentences or otherwise removed as obstacles. The public will have a full, unadulterated demonstration of honest German justice, boosting confidence in their Führer and proving the benevolent nature of our administration. So, yet again, this changes the functional administrative system with streamlined the bureaucracy. Effective changes: political power gain plus 10%, supply consumption lowered by 5%, stability increased by 10%, ideology-driven defense increased by 10%, supply range by 5%, social program cost factor lowered by 5%, and needed consumer goods lowered by 1%. So the next one would be the Erhard plan, or the Schmidt proposal. They're not exclusive, so we'll have to go with both of them. But we're gonna make a detour and work on the thorn in our side. Only 3 days for that to happen, which is fine. In the meantime, let's look here. Find and eliminate dissent. Well, we'll see what they're bringing to the table. The State of the Reich, reformists. 4.65 per 14 days, that is really good. Regime stability is 60.8%. Can we... what is this? Shift the economy towards conservatism. Our economic policy becomes slightly more conservative. No, we don't want that. Social outlook is still conservative. Economic policy is liberal. Okay, 1-0. Good. Welcome heroes from Madagascar. Oh, we have new options here. Brave men from the Madagascar garrison have proven their worth in securing control of the island from traitors and natives, only to be cut off from Germania as the Bürgerkrieg began. Now let us relieve them from their duty and re-establish the Reich's presence in the Indian Ocean. Militaristed Madagascar joins Einheitspact. They join the Zollverein. They join the German economic sphere. They become military government of Greater Germanic Reich. Okay, and they get Mauritius and Reunion. Okay, let's do that. Welcome back, heroes. Welcome back. It's good to have you back. And again, this boosts our economy even more, which is great. How are we doing on the production? The efficiency has increased reasonably, which I'm happy about. Okay, starting to gain more and more of helicopters. Okay, but we really need to do some changes to our units because we have been ignoring that for long enough. So first of all, you guys need a recon. So Light Armored Recon Company is the one that requires armored cars, which is exactly what we want you to do. We do have enough of those. Combined with is 18. And I'm going to give you the field hospital too, because that one is very valuable. On the other hand, we have like tons of manpower, but I think it would be more than good. Okay, that increases motorized, support, armored car, we get everything, and we can even add anything or something here. Anti-tank artillery. You get the anti-tank. What if we added artillery. It would be... yeah, that would... wait, what was that before? Oh wait, no, this was this one. Okay, so 263, and if we add artillery... oh, that is a big change. And a welcome too. Okay, so this will modernize our infantry units. The combat width is gonna go up to 21. That's not good. I was hoping that would not happen. Or we could remove 2 of the infantry units and put 2 artillery units. That would massively increase soft attack, but lowered. Dang it. Okay, so let's not go there at this point. Let's just give them light armored recon and field hospitals, and we'll just save that for now. Erhard's demands flat income tax. So our economic policy will become slightly more liberal. Ludwig surveyed the sheets of figures arranged across his desk, his domain, the income and expenditures of every Gau, Reichsgau and Reichsland in black and white. He had directed his ministry to spend the last week gathering this data. Gauleuters did not appreciate intrusion into their affairs, preferring to think of themselves more as lords to be left to their own. Once gathered, it was just as monumental a task to sort through, but for the knowledge he gained he would pay any price. The Führer had proved more easily moved than he had expected. Perhaps he was sincere after all. One does not ignore the richest man in the Reich on a whim. The numbers didn't lie, and while there had been a short-term income drop, it had been more than made up for by the sudden and vast flow of currency between the hands of the Reich's citizens. 1 mark is not 1 mark, but many, holding value for every transaction it is used in, and taking the money out of the pockets of men like Hermann Josef Abs was a good deed in itself. They could complain, but if things kept going this way, their oligopolies would be on the way out. So we get 75 political power, but lose a bit of stability, and our policies become a bit more liberal, which is fine. Our stability, though, has dropped a bit. I hate the vast political promises. Ukraine. We're still doing the token ones, so let's hold a speech. That's gonna increase the regime stability. We're at 60. That's, I don't know, not bad, not good, not great, but you know, it can be done. What about here? Did they finish that? Not yet. 5 more days. Okay. And the Sondergericht. Oh no. It was a frigid morning, with dawn still hours away, when Albrecht Lorenz was sentenced to death. Awoken by insistent hammering on his apartment door shortly after midnight, Lorenz was incautious in his drowsy state. Had he been more alert, he might have realized that the armed men outside his door were Gestapo officers, possessed of absolute loyalty to the new Führer. Gagged, blindfolded, cuffed, and unceremoniously bundled into the back of a waiting car, Lorenz had struggled and trashed all the way from his home to the special court set up in the local NSDAP headquarters. When he was thrown into a cold steel chair before a known Spirite judge, Lorenz finally comprehended his predicament. His bindings removed, he loudly and insistently proclaimed his innocence in the few seconds before someone struck him over the head with a truncheon. He recovered just in time to hear the verdict. In accordance with the Führer's directive, this court finds you guilty of treason, homosexuality, and Bolshevik sympathies. The sentence is death. Hauled from the special court by balaclava-wearing guards, none present would ever forget Lorenz's scream protest as he was dragged out behind the court, put up against a brick wall, and shot twice in the head with a P-38. Thus began the Great Purge and the end of the Reich's 5th columnists. Our new Führer has teeth. Regime stability is increased by 10%. West Hauptstadt Germania adds 1%, but lose base stability of 10. Actually, I don't know the Lawrence guy. We've seen him a couple of times, but I don't remember who he was. If anyone could put the story in perspective for me, was he the guy that called the Führer on the phone and shouted at him? If not, then who was he? Or was he the guy that was searching his office? Damn, I'm getting a bit lost in this storyline. So again, if anyone could put this into perspective and understands it better than me, I'd be happy if you did that. Sondergericht in Germany. In a bid to cleanse the NSDAP of disloyal members, Albert Speer, Führer of German Reich, had begun the Sondergericht, a special trial which saw several members of the party accused of a variegated list of crimes, from abuse to power to accepting bribes and even treason. As a result of this, several democratic countries have protested against what had appeared to be a purge in disguise. This didn't deter the government in Germania. After several months, Speer had achieved a double result. Not only has he tightened his grip on the party, but the German people are also much more supportive of his regime. With the public opinion once more in his favor, the Führer can now concentrate on more important matters. So it's kind of interesting. Stability has dropped, but the stability of the regime has increased, which is kind of interesting dichotomy. 70, yeah. Well, why not? I mean, you know. So infantry units will get their new equipment, which is great. And we also need to check on you, because you are the guys that are the most important for me. So I wanted to add the light recon company to you, which would greatly boost your reconnaissance. I don't know why you all have the anti-tank. That's such a waste. Oh, on the other hand, if we removed it, yeah, but the heart attack wouldn't go that high. The medevac. Is it better? The medevac gives how much? Experience lost minus 35 and trickleback plus 45. Field Hospital has trickleback and ward support 40 and experience lost minus 40. So the medevac is better, but way more expensive. 500 manpower, motorized 20, support equipment 30, manpower 500, support equipment 30, and transport helicopters. And heavy supply company actually lowers supply usage by 40%. Well, I mean, this one would be great. We have to add this one to tanks and stuff, because that one is great. And the attack helicopter company would also be good. So something like this would be ideal. And we're gonna change the armored engineers for these guys. So defense is fine. Breakthrough plus 57, yeah, this would be ideal. Tank support company, or armored engineer company, light armored recon, attack helicopter company, and if we could add elite infantry, this would be an ideal state for these specialized units. Combat with 20, soft attack, defense 900, breakthrough, yeah. But alas, we don't have what it takes. So, we're starting the Polish story. The fallen on our side. Unfortunately, the general government collapsed in the opening days of the Bürgerkrieg, replaced by a new independent Polish state. How was this possible? Well, it's quite clear to Führer Speer that Hans Frank and his bastard cronies had forged Germanization figures, but that doesn't matter anymore, for we have a greater problem on our hands. If we allow this new Polish state to fester, it may yield disaster for the Greater Germanic Reich. Thus, it's time we decide the ultimate fate of Poland. So this increases tension with America and Japan, or American tensions and Japanese tensions. In the International Committee, we will observe how we deal with this matter. Our goodwill is at a balance. So wait, we can go with the Reichsminister's plan, because that one requires 75% regime stability, but we're gonna get that if we want to. The Marshall's strategy. In fact, the Poles will not bend the knee on a whim. Our force will make them cover a second time. OKV's proposal, or an alternative. Which happens if the Poles refuse negotiations. What must be done? A means to an end. Okay, so basically if we try and they refuse us, we can invade and destroy them. That's an option always. Or we could go with the Marshall strategy, a talk over Krakow, wrangling guns, send the materials, a home to live in. Or the Reich Minister's plan. Helmut Schmidt, the Reichsminister of Foreign Affairs, has proposed a starkly different plan. Wait, let's look at this one, the Marshall strategy. It seems that the Marshall strategy has been received with characteristic positivity by Führer Speer. General Feldmarschall Hans Speidel, a prominent adherent reformist within the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht, has proposed the Großgermanisches Reich adopt an aggressive approach when dealing with the rogue Polish nation. Speidel, ever the pragmatist, has proposed that we strong-arm the Polish government into accepting an occupation by the Wehrmacht, perpetually neutering the ability of the Poles to revolt in the future. Or Reichsminister's plan. Helmut Schmidt, the Reichsminister of Foreign Affairs, has proposed a starkly different plan to that of his contemporaries in the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht. Indeed, rather than suggest that the Großgermanisches Reich conduct a full-scale occupation of Poland, Schmidt has asserted that only through diplomacy and the perusement of compromise can a deal be effectively forged. It seems that the Reichsminister's plan has been received with characteristic positivity by Führer Speer. Good, sehr good. A telegram to Warsaw. Resistance below. Slaves of the Reich. Need the blame. Now we wait and see. Okay. So how are we doing on the stability? We had like 70%. We'll get 2.5%. Okay, this will increase our regime stability by 10% for 41 days. And when we're done, it's gonna drop. So this would give us enough time to go through this one. Okay, let's do it. I mean, I like that one. It has the highest requirements, but seems to be the best option. So vast political promises. This will open the Reichsminister's plans to us. And let's see what the effect is going to be. Irkutsk unifies the Russian Far East. Far Eastern Soviet Socialist Republic. Okay, and I still haven't finished this. 2 more days. The Soviet remnant headed by Henryk Yagoda was one of the few recognized states in post-war Russia, but its real affairs were unknown to the world, and many assumed that it was engulfed by the Russian anarchy, like the rest of the Russian Far East. However, the recent development caused it appear in headlines for the first time since the 50s. After holding on to this domain of Irkutsk for a long time, Yagoda managed to destroy other contenders for the Russian rule in the region, once again reasserting the dominance in the outskirts of the former Soviet Union. With his close enemies eliminated, Chairman Yagoda now seeks to fully reinforce his claim as a legitimate successor of the Bukharin state and expand his power to the western frontiers of Siberia. The apparent rebirth of the Soviet successor state became a source of alarm for its Siberian neighbors, while the international community looks forward to the future of Russia with a great concern. The reign of terror marches on, and we're gonna be ready for it. You bet your sweet patootie. Which reminds me, you guys have gotten the equipment? But it didn't lead to drop in experience. Interesting, because you all... Wait, did you? No, they still haven't. Okay, so we have to wait. And then we'll have to retrain them. Wow, we still haven't finished a single ship. Jesus Christ. 20th of March and 2nd and 5th of Feb, so in a month. How's the construction going? We're still repairing... Yeah, I think we're gonna finish the repairs of... Oh wait, we're repairing Reunion and Mauritius. So wait, these are part of Madagascar? No, these are actually ours. Okay. Okay, Port Louis. We ought to deploy some units there to protect it. And, speaking of which, the Madagascar situation. Kurt, I'm honestly getting rather tired of hearing about Africa. Ahmed Speer's comment garnered a nod from his deputy. I recognized it, my Führer. He then leaned forwards. I'll be blunt, the main problem facing us right now here aren't the Madagascarans, but the Reichskommissar himself. Speer raised an eyebrow. Erhard Milch? He's a Jew, but seems to follow our commands well enough. The deputy Führer shook his head. You do not realize he's loyal to Göring, not you? Oh, it wouldn't be wise to throw out weight behind him. We need to get him out of the picture and replace him with somebody more loyal, but at the same time, just as expendable. Speer thought for a moment. He was somewhat concerned about the extent of Keisinger's political reformism, but admitted that his concerns here were valid. Milch has endorsed Göring, and his alignment remained suspect. However, that was before the Civil War. Madagascar needed German support, and Speer knew that Milch recognized that. If Germany backed Milch, then the risk of losing said support again, Speer postulated, might be too much for him to bear resistance. Finally, Speer spoke. His position is untenable without us. We can buy his support. Oh, you're right, we can risk him having relevance. Find somebody else. Well... Okay, well, this is an issue of political virtue. Basically, we can either remove him, I mean, yes, I know we need to reform. Wait, where is it? Here, right? Oh god, they got 8. State of the Reich. Because I mean, I hate removing him, quite honest. If it was up to me, I would leave him there. Because he did his best and so on, but he supported the wrong person and we want to go with the reformist. I'm going to say it this way. Personally, I would leave him there. No, you know what? I'm going to go with what I think is right. Milch is a decorated veteran. He fought for Madagascar. We fought beside him. He supported someone, but we're going to keep him there. I do not want to remove a decorated veteran just because he supported someone else. If he raises up against us, then we're gonna deal with it, but at this point, how bad would it hurt us? $1.17 per month. Outlook is progressing. 4. Well, we're gonna see. I know that this probably set us back a bit, but I'm not gonna go against my ideas in case I don't have to. So the Reichsminister's plan. Speak softly. So, Herr Schmidt, I've read about your plan. Speer looked up from his desk, his eyes meeting with his foreign minister. I'd like you to explain it to me more, because frankly I don't understand why we need to go to this much effort over a place like Poland. Schmidt straightened his tie. It's less about Poland itself and more about the international effects, my Führer. Speer leaned back in his chair. Elaborate. Well, we could enforce our will through force of arms on the Poles, as we did in the 30s, but the main issue is that internationally this would threaten our image as a reformist, gentler Reich. The issue with your plan, Herr Schmidt, is that it's going to force us into promises we might not want to keep. I understand my plan is not perfect, but it is the only way to keep our image safe. Besides, negotiations means no bloodshed, and neither of us want that, do we? Schmidt smiled. No, of course not. I give you permission to go ahead. Don't screw this up for me, will you? Speer shuffled in his chair. Schmidt nodded before leaving the room. the hopes of the Reich's new standing resting squarely on his shoulder. We'll see how this goes. So we lose a bit of political power, gain a bit of stability. A telegram to Warsaw. Okay. Well, we'll see how it's gonna go. Okay, the fact that not the enemy, but the opponent here got 8 and we got 7, tells me easily that what we need to do here is criticize the central government. There are basically 3 options that we can go with. Either we get 1 and we'll be at the same level, which then will force them to go and maybe lose because they're gonna go over. But that's the same situation we would have, for example, with this one, because there is still an option that we're gonna lose. Or we'll get 2 and then we're at a 9 and all the worse for them because they are losing and they will have to take a risk. Or we get 10 and we have pretty much won. So there's no bad choice for us with this one. Even if we got 8, we'll just pick this one again and we have the same chances as we would have with this one. So let's criticize the central government. The Hungarian government is weak. True-blooded Hungarians lay stranded in half a dozen countries as the administration struggles to even fund itself. And the state of the army. So let's criticize. Let's criticize the central government and see what it's gonna bring. Okay, on that note, I think we're gonna end the episode here. We're doing kind of good. Panzer divisions should be the next ones to maybe modify. I like their breakthrough. We should probably give them the heavy support company, which will... No, not the heavy. The attack helicopter company, which gives the breakthrough of 79. And maybe even the heavy supply company. Oh, it's not support, it's heavy supply company. I keep misspelling that because that one's gonna greatly lower the supply need. Okay, so holiday in Mauritius. Let's end the episode with this event. Friedrich sat on the dock, staring. Is it Friedrich Milch? Is it Friedrich Milch? No, it's Erhard. Okay. Friedrich sat on the dock, staring over the sea with his rifle slung over his shoulder and his feet dangling just above the gentle azure water of Mauritius. Despite the clear skies above him and calming diamond waves lapping against the pale white shores that hugged the verdant inland of the island, Friedrich sat not in awe but in frustration. When he had enlisted, he had expected to go somewhere interesting, somewhere exciting. Sure, the island was beautiful and relatively safe, but you don't join the army to relax on the beach. Friedrich grumbled to himself as he undid the top button of his uniform, hoping none of the other men on guard duty would notice him, letting his neck breathe a bit. The heat would have been lovely and quite welcome if he weren't carrying so much equipment, not to mention his uniform's thick fabric and long sleeves. He glanced down to the water, longing to be able to kick his boots off and dive in. That way at least some joy would come out of this assignment. The rations were stale, the barracks were derelict, and the port was empty, not for its meager garrison and the steady flow of more and more submarines docking there. A hand tapped Friedrich on the shoulder, startling him enough that he nearly tumbled into the water. Flailing his arms about, he just barely managed to grip and brace himself against a post before he could get a rather twisted fulfillment in his earlier wish. Staggering back to his feet, he turned to see his old friend Konrad standing in his naval uniform, a smug grin plastered on his face as he helped Friedrich up. "Scared the hell out of me. What are you doing here?" said Friedrich, adjusting his helmet. "My sub just pulled in on the other side. Thought I'd pay my dear old friend Friedrich a visit after offloading some equipment," replied Konrad. "Oh, well, it's good to see you. And the reason why so many subs have come in lately?" "No idea. Seems like Command's got some plans for this place, though." Interesting. Considering our state of... well, actually, you guys are stuck. What is wrong with you, Bornholm? Are we not? Okay, let me just... Oh my god. Oh my god. So, because of that little mistake, they haven't repaired all the way until... My god. Well, sometimes I feel really stupid. Anyway, better late than never, right? Better late than never. Anyway, see you in the next episode.